Hey guys. So, I am exhausted. Today is not a very productive day when it comes to physical manual labor outside. I did a little bit. I got the potato spot cleared out and I set up the tires there. Granted, I'm going to have to unstack them so that I can get some soil in there. And when I plant the potatoes, I'm supposed to leave the top tire off. You know, you plant the potato in the bottom tire filled with dirt, and then after it gets so high, you put the top tire on and fill up with some soil in there. But anywho, I'm exhausted. I'm so freaking tired. Instead of doing a whole bunch of manual labor, I read on someone's blog, someone else's little farm homestead blog, is it was a month by month plan thing, and what they said during February is what I should really be doing right now. Garden planning, starting seeds, and greenhouse prep. Well, I don't have a greenhouse. I would like to build some low tunnel hoop houses. I haven't done that yet. Really probably should. It's the 25th of February, but I'm not doing that today. But it's kind of on my mental list and my physical list to do that. But on the garden planning topic, I just went to my local Murdoch's and I got way too many seeds because my little garden pail is missing. I must have gone on a clutter bender and taken it to storage because I can't find it. Anyway, since I don't really want to do a whole lot of manual labor today, on to garden planning. I'm kind of already thinking about my raised beds outside that I built myself. I don't have much room out there for our little corner of the world. But anyway, I got my raised beds, and then I've got a bunch of little plastic pots that I want to plant in. And then my sister-in-law, she has an old doggy swimming pool outside. The bottom of it is crap. It's torn, it's ripped, it's been punctured and patched, and well, it was left outside and it got caught in a rainstorm. Not a rainstorm, I'm sorry. See, I'm tired. A windstorm, a really bad windstorm. And so the bottom of it, it's not going to be functional anymore as a doggy pool. It's not going to hold water. Not going to happen. But the sides, it's got the zigzaggy foldy sides, so you can set it up, and it's actually a pretty large area. But she gave me the idea that would be a really great tool to build another raised bed. It'll be a round raised bed. That's perfect for me. That sounds good. So I'm gonna have that and my existing raised beds, the wooden ones. It's like a little trellis, not a trellis, terrace. We've got the top level and then another level, and then I've got the ground level. I might have to do some sort of ground flowers there. I don't know. Anyway, and then I've got so the potatoes, the raised beds, the pots. I've got a bunch of pots, and that the doggy pool raised bed. So I've got 4 areas that I've got to plan. Plus I've got that homemade pergola out of sticks out there that you've seen. I built that for grapes, actually. I wanted a nice shady area in the middle of the summer and be able to pick grapes. That was my idea. Now, grapes take a really long time to get going. Not to say as though I won't, but I'm looking at other climbing plants to possibly create a canopy. Most likely flowers, but I've found that a living canopy is much cooler in the summertime than a man-made canopy. Like, you go and you sit under a tree with millions of leaves, you're cooler when you're sitting underneath that tree rather than an umbrella. It's okay, the umbrella does a good job of shading out the sun, but it kind of keeps in the heat. So, anyway, I think that has to do with the perspiration and the fact that there's water in the leaves. Anyway, so I'm getting ready to plan all of those. I've got my paper here. I'm about to turn the page and probably draw something. Like make a circle for the round doggy pool, maybe some squares for the other raised beds, and some small circles for the pots. But I wanted to touch on the importance of books. If you're anything like me, staring at the computer, I've got the computer right here, staring at the computer too long makes my eyes go wonky. I think it's like it's burning up brain cells, and I've got to get away from it for a while. I get frustrated. I actually yelled at my dogs earlier, not for any big huge reason. They were in my way, but don't worry, I did not beat them up. I didn't do that, but I yelled at them, and that was wrong. I'm frustrated and angry today, I think because I'm just burnt out right now on the computer and the video editing and trying to get it up, and it's just, I'm done with that right now. I'm just, mentally, I'm done. And I'm physically tired from doing all of the manual labor outside. So I'm angry, and I yelled at my dogs, and that's not okay. So, the importance of books. I've got a stack of books right here that I'm going to pull off of to help me plan my garden. These are all of my gardening books. Gardening, farming, regenerative stuff. I'm going to go over them real quick. I am 100% open to suggestions for more books. For, I don't know, something a little bit more. You know what? I do have I think one more book. I'm going to go grab that. I hope I'm not on fucking time lapse. Alright, I'm back. I had to double check my camera to make sure that I am not on time lapse, because that has happened before. Alright, so here's all my books. I'll start going through them. The first one that I got was The 5-Year Guide to Self-Sufficiency by Amelia Barrows. I really, really like this book. I still haven't finished it. I was starting it, and my skill level has not gotten past the gardening part, which is year 1. So, so I wasn't really reading past year 1. I have now. I've read much more now, so more so now. But it's a really great book, very well written. It's from the nobody, from the very beginning, starting out. My freaking dogs are going nuts. Starting out from absolutely nothing and figuring out how to really get outside and start learning through experience. Maybe I'll yell at my dogs again. Y'all hush. Okay. Now, okay, so 5-Year Guide to Self-Sufficiency covers gardening and chickens, and then it starts going into bigger animals. I'm not there yet, but it's a good book. All right. I'm gonna cover the big ones real quick. I just got this one recently for myself and my hubby. This is Edible and Medicinal Plants in Wild and Not So Wild Places. This one came highly recommended on Amazon because the drawings in here, they said even though the drawings are in black and white, they're actually a heck of a lot better than, say, a colored book with colored pictures in it. Because a lot of times you kind of get stuck off in the color and you're not realizing or seeing the shapes and the counts of the leaves and stuff. So that's going to be fun. We've opened it and looked at it a little bit, but that's not where we're going today. We're planting a garden. Although I did use it, I do believe that outside, against the barn, we've got burdock. And you can eat burdock root, and it's also a medicinal plant. So that's interesting. My sister-in-law, the same one who had the doggy pool, she's huge into, like, understanding global warming and trying to do her best to prevent it or, do her part. But she knows that I'm really trying to get into gardening, and I understand that there is a climate change. And although this book kind of goes a little too hard into global warming or climate change than I like, it has a lot of great ideas and pictures. I love the pictures. Oh my gosh, I have to show you the pictures. In here, it shows you how to do like little garden plans in here, like before and after, and little ideas of, okay, instead of this lawn, let's it's like for small backyards. I can't even talk right now. I'm so excited. Oh. There's a building, and then there's like a long, narrow backyard. So against your building, build yourself a little greenhouse, and then do a smaller walkway and all the plants and stuff that you can grow in there. And then have what is that? It's a water collecting roof on your shed, and then there's a compost bin and a water harvesting barrel right there. This is brilliant stuff. Now, Colorado, the law is that you can only harvest 110 gallons of rainwater. That's your holding capacity, period. So, unless, and I looked this up, I looked up the law, unless you have an exempt well. I don't know what that entails. I don't know what makes it an exempt well. I think there's like a permit process that you have to go through to do that, but if you have a well, a water well that is exempt, whatever the heck that means, you can harvest however much rainwater you want to off of the roof of your residential house, of your residence. Not on the barn, not on the garage, not, unless of course your garage is attached, but so that's a way around that law, unless of course you live in the city and you do not have a well. Then 110 gallons is your max. But that's like straight up water. Something else in this book that I learned that is so cool. I didn't know that you could train a tree to go on like flat. You can train a tree to grow flat against a wall. Interesting. I really appreciate this gift. The Practical Guide to Greener, Planet-Friendly Gardening. And I'm super for the planet-friendly stuff, so much so that I'm not going sustainable, I'm going a step further and trying to be regenerative. And that means that I am helping Mother Nature regenerate her natural resources by working with her rather than against her. Basics. Okay. This one. Lessons in Nature. 50 Years of Organic Advice from the Southwest's foremost composter, gardener, and farmer, Malcolm Beck. I do enjoy this one. I haven't gone very far. I think, yeah, it's Southwest, so a lot of this is not in my zone. So I have to take that into account when I'm reading this book. I think he's in Arizona. Don't quote me. I don't know. I don't remember. But it's Southwest. I think he's in Arizona, maybe Southern California. I don't know. Well, anyway. I have read some of this book, but not a lot of it. I will have to get into this one more. The Contrary Farmer. It's also along the same lines. These two, I mean, they're along the same lines of being sustainable or regenerative, using compost, you know, working with nature to garden, to produce food for yourself. I've got Malcolm Beck and Gene Logsdon, The Contrary Farmer. And they're old school. Back in the 40s, 50s, 30s, whatever, and everybody had their own milk cow, you know? Everybody did it. Everybody had their own backyard garden, backyard farm, couple chickens. You know, everybody did that. And that's kind of what those books are about. They're not the big commercial corn farms. They're variety farms. Food, farming, and health. Respecting Anam, agricultural biodiversity, and traditional Indian dietary wisdom. I've not opened this one yet, but I bought it to read it. I might have to do a little bit of that today. The Untold Story of Milk by Ron Schmidt, N.D. I don't know, natural doctor? Naturopath doctor? I'm not sure. I've cracked this one open. I've read a bunch. I was learning about raw milk online, and I was YouTubing, and this little farm was like, you know what? No, I don't think it was Joel Salatin. I don't remember who it was, but they said that anyone that buys raw milk from that person, that farm, really encourages those people to read this book first. The Untold Story of Milk. There's a lot of information, historical information, in here about milk. And because it's become this controversial thing. But it's about raw milk. From pasture-fed cows. Not from brewer's grain-fed cows or corn-fed cows, but from pasture-fed, grass-fed, the way they're supposed to be. Backyard Problem Solver. This one's freaking awesome. I love this guy. Jerry Baker. The way he writes about the plants, that he calls them little babies, little tiny tender seedlings. They're his little babies. My parents had this book, and I really loved it, but then they don't know what the heck happened to it, so I had to buy it. There's awesome little tonics in here to help. Most of it is for like flowers and ornamental stuff, but there is a veggie section in here. But he also talks about bugs. Your beneficial bugs and helping. Oh, and also when you go pruning your trees, he has like a Band-Aid in here. I never knew that there was such a thing for a Band-Aid, like as a Band-Aid for a tree. Love that book. This one, I think a lot of you will recognize this one. Introduction to Permaculture. Yes. See, permaculture is under the umbrella term regenerative agriculture, because permaculture is regenerative. I haven't done a whole lot of reading in this book because when I was driving around in my truck, in my semi, I had the audio cable hooked up through my speakers, and I was actually listening to the audiobook. So I've listened to the book, to the whole thing. But yeah, there's great stuff in here. I haven't even hardly opened it. But makes a lot of sense to me. I've wanted to build like an edible forest, a food forest in parks. This country has a huge homeless people problem, and I mean some people don't really care because they're like, well, they got in that situation all by themselves. Why should I care? You know, you don't know how close you are to being homeless. You don't know how many paychecks you are away from being homeless. Most people are 1 or 2 paychecks away from being homeless. And I think we've seen a lot more of that, or realized better, when it comes to this whole COVID thing. Alright. The last one I'm going to share with you is Seed to Seed. This was supposed to be like a who's it by? Suzanne Ashworth. This one's Bill Mollison, by the way. He's an Australian. Awesome. He's like the godfather of permaculture, if you didn't know. But this one came highly recommended. It was supposed to help teach you seed to seed. From your seed that you put in the ground and grows, and then how to save your own seeds. Now, I've been confused with this one because it kind of like, it wasn't what I expected. It tells you, whoa. Okay, alright, let's look here. Coriander. It tells you a little bit about coriander. And, outbreeding, easily grown, goes to seed. It tells me seed statistics. Growing coriander from seed. Tells me how to plant it. Regional growing. Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Southeast Gulf Coast. And it tells me direct seed from February 15th to March 15th, or April 15th to September. And then it doesn't tell me how to save the seed like I thought it was going to. And that's unfortunate. But that's actually why I bought this one. It was supposed to be seed saving. See? Seed to Seed is a complete seed saving guide, describing techniques for saving seeds. But I don't know, maybe there's another chapter that tells me how to save the seeds. Maybe. I don't know. It tells me statistics, but I haven't seen anything in here on how to. Yeah, this is just, no. Anyway. Ooh! Okay. In the back here, maybe. This family, seed production, harvest, and processing. Oh, wait, no. Ripe berries. Yeah, fruits can be rubbed over a screen to free the seeds. Alright. So this just goes by the family. And it is in the back. Processing. Alright. So anyway. This was a must-have. Right now I'm just gonna figure out when the heck to plant. So. And then the only other one that I would highly encourage everyone to read or listen to, like I did, I got the audiobook, is The Plant Paradox. it talks a lot about lectins, and there's a lot of scientific studies and anecdotal evidence about how these lectins are causing most of our health problems, most of our diseases, including diabetes, heart disease, obesity, what's the other one? Alzheimer's, dementia. I would highly recommend that one. And I like that one so that, because it goes through plant foods, and